Today, on the brink of NBCC's 20th anniversary of our founding, we are at a critical juncture in the fight to end breast cancer. With all of the successes of the past 2 decades, it is remarkable how little progress has actually been made. We are no longer willing to settle for less than what we deserve, an end to breast cancer. We can't count on hope as a strategy to end breast cancer. Hope has certainly kept us going all these years of far too many losses, but hope is not a solution. Hope will not end breast cancer. We need a plan, a goal, a means for holding ourselves and others accountable, a deadline. We've been conditioned to believe that a drug that may extend life by a few months is a breakthrough, that a 2% reduction in mortality is incredibly promising, that tumor regression or stabilization are cause for celebration, even though at that point there is no way to determine if anyone's life was actually prolonged. We've settled for these limited incremental changes along with the platitude early detection saves lives for much too long. NBCC is now calling for a global strategy to end breast cancer, and we have a plan to develop a specific blueprint to get there. We're going to hold summits bringing together the diverse perspectives and stakeholders around big issues in breast cancer like prevention and metastasis, and develop strategic plans on how to address those issues over an 8 to 10 year period. And we will implement those plans on an ongoing basis. We will hold catalytic workshops and catalytic projects to look at specific issues that come out of those summits that we see could have a large impact in breast cancer, but need coordination and focus in order to move forward. We will issue progress reports every year that will tell the public what the progress is toward meeting the 2020 deadline, and it will hold us and others accountable. We are serious about this commitment. This is real, and it is time to make this happen. If we continue making progress at this current rate, it will take more than 500 years to end breast cancer. More of the same will not produce different results. By calling for an end to breast cancer by 2020, we're calling for an end to business as usual.
I think that awareness is not enough. We're aware. We're awash in pink. We need to go beyond awareness, and I think the National Breast Cancer Coalition is the one group who is bold enough to do that. We can be the generation that stops breast cancer, and we must be the generation that stops breast cancer. And the way to do it is exactly what the National Breast Cancer Coalition is doing, is to set a deadline. We have to say that we will not be satisfied unless breast cancer is ended by January 2020. And I will be there fighting with all my colleagues here in the coalition to make that happen.
Imagine how wonderful it will be when we no longer have to hold someone's hand while they get another chemo treatment, or drive them home after another surgery, or make that difficult telephone call to one of our friends to share the news of another loss. It's time for all of us who've had a diagnosis of breast cancer, those at risk, and anyone who cares about ending this disease, to speak up and demand a change.
It was 21 years between my first diagnosis and my recurrence of breast cancer. But even though it was 21 years later, my doctor really did not have anything new to offer me. Same treatment options, same potential prognosis. Now, I'm not willing to let another 21 years go by. Absolutely not. We certainly can end breast cancer. We just need to approach it differently and to focus on what really matters. not finding more cancers, not just delaying the growth of tumors, but saving women's lives.
My mother, Pat Barr, was one of the early pioneers of the National Breast Cancer Coalition. I remember her telling me about the great work of NBCC. The breast cancer deadline is something she would have fully supported, wanting to see a different world for my generation and demanding no less. My mom taught me to be an activist, and I strive to live up to her examples as an advocate, particularly in breast cancer. She's not here today, but I am, and I intend to make sure that breast cancer is not an epidemic for another generation of women. The breast cancer deadline is a lifeline for me and all the members of my generation.
For many of us meeting in those early days, 20 years ago, we were meeting to figure out how we could change the world of breast cancer. And we were there because breast cancer had already changed our worlds. I was at that table because my partner had died of breast cancer at the age of 44. Our daughter was only 4 years old. Breast cancer had changed my world. This is the next bold step for this organization. And I think this organization knows best how to be bold.
With the National Breast Cancer Coalition leadership and vision, with key stakeholders, and with the breast cancer deadline, we will make the end to breast cancer in 2020 a reality.
This is it. This is the home stretch, and I know you're all going to be there to make this happen. And I want to thank you very much, because it's the power and commitment and passion and intelligence and courage of women around me right now, and all of you in the room, and so many others across the country and around the world who are going to make this happen. It isn't impossible. Don't believe it for one moment. It's real. It will happen. You heard someone say, this is our next bold move. This is our last bold move.